musical groups have had such devoted fans as the Grateful Dead. They are known, as you probably know already, as just deadheads. They don't sleep with them, as I said. They don't kiss them. They are mostly men, but their lives consist of following the group from concert to concert and going, in order to live on the road, they very often sell trinkets. Now, why would someone want to dedicate his life to a musical group? We're going to find out from my next guest, Bob Bromberg. Nice to have you.
Nice to be here.
Okay. These two ladies have gotten out of it friendship, notoriety. What do you get by following the Grateful Dead around?
Well, by seeing a show, when you leave a Grateful Dead concert, you really feel like you have experienced something. It's like a religious experience, practically. And, you know, nowadays, it's hard to get that kind of experience. You go there, and you're among thousands and thousands of people who are all there for the same reason, and that's to have a good time and to be with each other. There's no specific person, there's no specific dress code, there's no specific race, religion, or anything. It's just anybody who wants to be there, who wants to have a good time is welcome.
Isn't that in any concert?
Not really. With the Dead, it's really more open to everybody, and everybody is accepted, and everybody's a friend to everybody.
So you talk to everybody at the concert, so again, it's a feeling of friendship.
Yeah, you go there, and everybody who's there is there for the same reason, and it's not like you just stay with your friends, you mingle with everybody. And
but on the stage, how old are you?
23.
20. These like a lot of old guys smoking dope. I mean, what do you know?
Well, the dope is just, you know, something that people there do. You know, if you want to get high that way, you can, but everybody does their own thing, and everybody has a good time however they want to do it.
Now, you're
23.
23. Do you go to school?
Yeah, I'm a graduate student.
A graduate. So how can you follow them concert to concert if you're, what are you a graduate student in?
I'm going for my Master of Fine Arts in Photography.
Okay. So how can you do that and run from concert to concert to concert to concert?
They play all over the place, and like in New York City, they play 9 or 10 nights at a time. And, you know, I kind of revolve my school schedule around it somewhat.
Your family must be thrilled, right?
They're used to it. Yeah. They're used to it.
At what age did you start? What age did you wake up one morning? How do you start to be a deadhead?
Well,
did you just wake up? Was it your bar mitzvah year? And you said, well, should I be a rabbi or a deadhead? Let me think about it. I mean,
when I was about 4 or 5 years old, there were a few guys who lived down the block from me who toured constantly. They were constantly on the road following the Dead around. And I just looked at them, and, you know, I was real close with them. And back then, I realized that I wanted to be part of it. And although I didn't start seeing them until, you know, high school, I was really always interested in it and that whole way of life.
Now, okay, Morgana gets around because they pay for her now. Connie gets around because they take her with her. Where do you get the money from, and how much money do you spend to go to these concerts?
Well,
do they pay for you?
No.
No.
It's easy to make money on tour because everybody who's there quite often is there for a whole 3 or 4 night stand. And everything that you need while you're there is available to you in the parking lots. All the food you want, you know, shelter,
so
whatever.
Are you telling me you don't go home for 4 days?
Yeah, sometimes, if it's possible.
So what do you do from 8 p.m. on Tuesday to 8 p.m. on Wednesday? Where do you sleep?
Tent.
You
car.
bring a tent? You bring a tent and you sleep in a tent? Where do you wash?
Lake nearby.
A lake in New York City?
Not in New York City. In New York City, the Hudson, it's real nice. Whenever they're in New York City, it's real easy to go home.
You just go in the Hudson River, you push the rats out of the way, and just...
shampoo up and dive in.
What about, why are so many men deadheads? You know what I mean?
I don't think it's that way. I think there's as many females as there are men there. I never...
Are there some females here now?
Yeah.
So is it also a social thing?
Oh, totally. I mean, I go on tour and I'll see friends who I haven't seen in months. And the only time I see them is on tour because it's a happy medium where everybody goes and everybody knows everybody else is going to be there.
Now, what happens when you finally get out of college or graduate school and you go to work? Is your boss going to allow this? Have you ever had a job?
Yes. Right now, currently, I work freelance for Relics magazine. Now, that's a Grateful Dead publication.
It doesn't count. And what about a real job? What about... You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What about, you are working in Barney's men's shop, and the Grateful Dead are in Kansas. Do you think they're going to say go and good luck to you, Bob?
No.
Have you ever had that happen?
Well, when I used to have real jobs,
yeah,
not like,
yeah,
you know, if the time came and I really wanted to get on the road, that would be the priority. And
So
the job was to get money to go on the road.
So you would just quit?
Yeah, but, I mean, I'm not at a point where I'd quit everything I have just to tour.
Okay.
But I try and make it where I can take a few days. They play weekends, they play nearby.
All right, I get you. All right, that's good.
Yeah.
Thank God for your mother. When we come back, we'll be joined by a psychotherapist who will help us understand the fine line between being a fan, and then suddenly becoming an obsessed groupie. So stay with us. We'll try to figure all this out.
About your daydreams and what you would do if you won 10 million out of the blue. Imagine the bell rings, the winner is you. Publishers Clearinghouse, the house where dreams come true.
Princess Di, Magic Johnson.
It's People's year-end double issue.
Anita Hill.
The 25 most intriguing
John,
people of
Madonna,
1991.
Elizabeth Taylor, Mick Jagger,
All in People's
Barbra
year-end
Streisand,
double issue,
Tom
starring the
Cruise,
25
Prince
most
William,
intriguing
Michael
people.
Jackson, Brooke Shields.
Christmas, marked by Santas, holly, and the welcome presence of Alka-Seltzer. Fast relief of heartburn with headache, accompanied by jingling bellies. Alka-Seltzer, the other holiday tradition.
Led Zeppelin is back.
Hey, baby, when you walk that way,
Digitally remastered. Jimmy Page has returned to the studio and digitally remastered all the classic tracks from Led Zeppelin. The greatest rock and roll band ever.
Oh, let the sun beat down upon my face.
This boxed set is available now at your local music store on CDs or cassettes. And now, Time Warner offers you an exclusive 2-CD version of the Led Zeppelin remasters through this limited TV offer.
Baby, since I've been
It's 26 songs, more than 2 hours of classic rock and roll, and it's available now over the phone for 4 easy payments. Call this number and get Led Zeppelin as you've never heard them before. And it's not available in any store. And if you order now, you'll also get this free 30-minute interview with Jimmy Page, Robert Plant, and John Paul Jones.
I was really seduced by rock and roll at an early age, that's for sure. We first played together in a small room in Gerrard Street.
The element of risk was the great thing about it.
Call now to get this exclusive TV offer. 2 remastered CDs or cassettes, plus the free interviews delivered to your home. This offer won't last long, so write this number down and call now.
to heaven.
We are back. Joining me now is Dr. Bonnie Maslin. She is a psychotherapist who will help us understand the fine line between being a fan and one who becomes obsessed with celebrities. Okay, what's the fine line?
All right, there isn't a fine line. It's much wider than you think. This is not typical behavior. And the wide open mouth and your gasps that you had all through this show are indicating This is highly unusual. It's different. It's not your regular run-of-the-mill fan.
But here is Connie, who is spending her life sleeping around with strangers backstage, which is, A, in this time, very risky, but she's happy. Do you understand what I'm saying? So do we tell her, don't be happy? What do we say to them?
All right, first of all, I think that we say to our children, the ones we have at a home growing up, that there's a right and a wrong. And when we have that very clearly laid out before our children, when we set limits, Joan, then we have people who have feelings inside that say, uh-oh, I can't do this, it's no good for me. You know, before you said you were worried about her.
Of course.
But what strikes me is you're worried about someone who doesn't seem to be able to be worried about themselves. And what we need to do is to make our children have an internal mommy inside that worries about them, and because of that keeps them out of harm's way.
But what about, why do people become so obsessed with it? There was a lady that loved Judy Garland. When Judy Garland got fat, she got fat. Literally, when Judy Garland lost weight, she lost weight. She was like a lady on 79th Street. People appointed her. What happens if somebody becomes so obsessed?
All right, I don't think the same thing happens to all people. I think, for example, some of us have an inner loneliness and a longing. So that, for example, when we go after sex repeatedly and indiscriminately, it isn't sex. We want to be filled up. We want to be taken care of. We want to connect so badly that we don't even stop to think about what we're doing. And yes, literally, we want to join with someone else in the hopes that maybe that's going to make the emptiness stop feeling so bad.
Now, all three here, Morgana, Bob, Connie, all mention that this gives them companionship. So is that what it is? I mean, they're looking absolutely just to be accepted, to be loved. Is that simple?
Joan, what's your definition for companionship?
One terrific person that I can have a good time with.
All right. So it's length of time, it's intensity of feeling, it's connectedness, it's over the long term. It's not an event, it's an experience that you're looking for. That's companionship. I think maybe what we have to understand is that when certain people say that's what they want, they're not using the same definition that you're using. And maybe that's why, Joan, this feels very confusing, because it isn't the same kind of basis upon which you and I and other people are looking for connections.
What happens to a parent who's out there watching and their child is becoming obsessive? Do you know what I'm saying? It's either going long distances to see. Melissa had a friend that dressed like Boy George. Do you remember? A little girl, she was 10 and a half years old. She dressed like Boy George for 3 years. I mean, you begin to worry. What does a parent do? What's a sign to a parent? This is going over the brink. I got to watch my child.
Well, I think you have to put it in context. If your child is doing that sort of thing, they're isolated, they're lonely, they don't have friends, they're not doing well in school. If it's in that context, then the alarms have to sound. That's a troubled child, that's a lonely child, that's a child who may be using that kind of identification to fill something, some void within them. If it's a passing fancy, as it is in a lot of adolescents, and it isn't in that context, then I think you can say, breathe easy, and you're home safe.
But just watch.
Watch, and also talk to your children. When you see it, talk to them, ask them, and most important, listen to what they have to say. Because if you listen to your child, that's the first step away from the possibility that they're going to have that loneliness and emptiness that other people have and try to fill up in all sorts of very self-destructive ways.
Okay, that's all very, very interesting. I want to hear what you three, because you've been looking like you want to get into this. Okay, let's go to commercial, and then I want to hear, do you think you're lonely? Do you think this is the reason you've been living your lives the way you've been living them? We'll be back with more in a moment, so stay with us.
The BBC, Turner Broadcasting, and Time Life Video dare you to take a walk on the wild side with Trials of Life, the gripping, award-winning nature video series that exposes the struggle to survive through uncensored, shocking photography. Join acclaimed naturalist David Attenborough for a close encounter with raw nature as you've never seen it before. Violent footage shows you the life and death struggle to survive in a harsh and brutal world. The quest for food, the thrill of the hunt, and the strategy of the kill. The battle for supremacy, the relentless drive to continue the bloodline, and the miracle of birth. Trials of Life is a first-hand account of the struggle to survive in a savage, untamed environment. Call this toll-free number now to receive Hunting and Escaping for $9.99. You'll see up close why the law of the jungle is kill or be killed. Try Hunting and Escaping. If it captures your interest, you can get other videos about every other month. Each tape explores the harsh realities of survival in the animal world. Trials of Life is a video series that will change the way you look at nature and yourself. People magazine calls Trials of Life visually stunning. Entertainment Weekly says Trials of Life is one of the liveliest nature shows ever. See the deadly art of survival in the wild in Trials of Life. Some scenes may not be suitable for younger viewers. Take a walk on the wild side with Trials of Life. Call now to order Hunting and Escaping for $9.99 and find out why we call them animals.
To order your Trials of Life, call 1-800-228-3131 or send $9.99 plus $3.23 shipping and handling to Trials of Life, Grand Central Station, P.O. Box 5294, Department TL-87, New York, New York 10163.
Trop World in Atlantic City on December 27th, 28th, and 29th, and at the Concord Hotel in the Catskills on December 30th. So if you're in the area, please come. Okay, now the three of you are going, wait a second. What you said in essence is people are looking for companionship and commitment and a feeling of belonging. And this is how they get it.
My chest?
Yes.
How can I be looking for fulfillment, so to speak, when I'm only out there 2 seconds kissing someone on the cheek? Because I've never waited for him after the game. I've never done a lip lock, mainly because baseball players chew tobacco, and I don't want to stain my teeth. That's true.
You're an entertainer. And so this is your job.
And we fulfilled a moment together, but it was just brief, wasn't it?
Now, but what about Connie now, which is more serious?
Well, I think you have to ask Connie about Connie.
All right, Connie?
I think a lot of Dr. Maslin's points were valid, but I think they were also rather broad because each individual has their own reasons for becoming a groupie or becoming a deadhead, and there's many reasons why people become deadheads as there are deadheads.
Okay, let me ask. But then what I would say is that, and this is the kind of job that I would do with someone who would come with this as a kind of problem, if they came as a problem, I'd say, how about finding the reasons, your special reasons? You're right, I would only speak broadly, and I wouldn't speak about you. But it's you who probably could take on the task very well of looking inside and finding out why you do it and what it's all about for you.
Let me ask you, the three of you, if I could flip a page and you could either continue to be a deadhead, kiss baseball guys, sleep with everything that's held in a guitar, or you could flip the page and you could be happily married with one person that adores you. I just want yes or no. Which would you pick?
I'd remain a groupie.
Remain a groupie.
I've been married for 15 years, and I'm always going to be the kissing bandit.
Okay.
I'd stay how I'm doing. I'm happy with my life. I've got a girlfriend, I've got a family, and I got a lot of good friends.
So
it's a good time.
Music's
It's not
great.
hurting anybody.
That's right. Music's great. It's all great.
It's all in good fun.
All great?
I think that's fascinating. I wish we had more time. We're out of time. I thank you all so much. I thank you so much for being here, Doctor. And when we come back, we're going to come back with gossip on Barbra Streisand. So stay with us.
We bake pearls.